I can't believe I fed this champion, guys. Don't make my mistake. Look at this video and keep these champions. I made a big boo-boo and it would have made my life a hell of a lot easier. So today we're looking at the rares you should not feed. We're going to do some honorable mentions, and we're going to get stuck into the ones that you may not have heard of, because we all know Cold Heart, you don't feed a Cold Heart, and there's a few other guys in there that we know we don't feed. Guys like our reset champions, like Painkeeper. We don't feed Painkeeper because Painkeeper is a reset champion and lowers our cooldowns and all that kind of thing. But before we get into it, guys, click on the link below if you want to not have to worry about rares, because you're going to get a free KARATO and 4 free epics. Mausoleum, Mage, Uugo, Tagoar to get you kicking off in 2025 with a new Raid Shadow Legends account. So if you have that link, you maybe don't even need to worry about this video, because you're going to be starting off so well and so strong. Now, we did mention our Painkeepers and our Cold Hearts. Painkeeper because it's a reset. Cold Heart because she has the most easily accessible, maybe the second most easily accessible max HP nuke in the game, and that is on a rare. She's on a rare Void Lego on the A3, but not only is it a massive enemy max HP hit, it's also 100% turn meter, which makes her absolutely critical for the likes of Spider and for Fire Knight as well, especially seeing as she attacks 4 times at random on the A1 and has a heal reduction, so stops everybody healing. Huge bonus. So that's not even the ones we're talking about, guys. So the other one then that we have to mention as a reset is Renegade. Now Renegade is in the Knights Revenant faction. There she is. Okay, so Renegade's a reset champion as well, and Renegade resets all ally skills by 2 turns. Now it doesn't affect herself, and she does damage herself when doing it, but having a cooldown reset is so vital in the game to allow you to access top tier strategies. Okay, so those are the ones we all know about. Let's get on to the ones we don't, and stay to the end. The last one, guys, is a Mini-Duchess, and I fed her, and I can't believe I did do that. Did I say her? Maybe it's a her, maybe it's not. Keep watching and find out, guys. Let's have a look at what we've got. Okay, so the first is a champion that brings AoE increased defense. AoE provoke brings you single target leech, which means you can get all your champions out of lifesteal gear and into big damaging gear, and also has block damage on themselves in a rare, guys. In a rare. And that is another champion that I had to feed in the name of progress, and that is Longsword Torrux. So Longsword Torrux is a rare defense champion in the Knights Revenant faction. Knights Revenant particularly strong for some of these guys. So as I said, A1 has a leech debuff for 2 turns. If you think about clan boss, if he's landing that on the clan boss, you don't need lifesteal gear. You're going to be healing up off leech all the time anyway. So not only does he do that, guys, he attacks all enemies, self-buffs because he is a defense champion, then all allies, not just himself, attacks all enemies and has a 45% chance, booking up to 65% chance of placing provoke on everybody for 1 turn, which is huge, which leads us into a pretty nice passive for a rare. So if you're looking at this rare and thinking, what the hell is going on? We have an active effect which places a block damage buff which is reduced to a 4-turn cooldown on him for 1 turn if the incoming damage exceeds 20% of his max HP. He also, which has no cooldown, counterattacks any enemy that attacks him under a provoke debuff. It's not chance to, it's not anything like that. These happen if the conditions are met. So that's huge. That's Longsword Torrux. You could use him in clan boss, you can use him in waves, you could use him in Hydra, anywhere that you want leech or you want to get your team out of lifesteal to be able to deal more damage, guys. This is absolutely huge. He's a very good rare, and I'm a little bit sorry I fed him. I have to say, would love to have kept him and experimented a bit more, but alas, in the name of progress, you have to feed these guys sometimes, but you shouldn't, and that's what I've learned. That's what this is all about, isn't it? Right, so that is our number 1. Number two is also in the Knights Revenant, guys. So we have Coffin Smasher, a champion that brings us reliable big decrease attack and AoE damage reduction and HP burn. Who'd have thought it? Coffin Smasher brings all of that, and Coffin Smasher is a really big champion for clan boss. If you can afford to keep this champion and put him on your clan boss team, you are going to become so much more survivable, and you're going to get more damage away because you're going to have HP burn. For 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown, he has a 75% chance when booked to place it, and on the A1 he has a big decrease attack. On a triple hitter, each hit has a 30% chance to apply that. So you're only going to be using your A1 and your A2, and then the passive decreases the damage enemies inflict with AoE attacks by 5%. So 2 out of 3 of the clan boss's attacks are AoE attacks. So that's going to reduce the damage. That's going to reduce your damage, reduce his damage, and this is going to improve your damage as well. So an incredibly good champion. If you can afford to build him up and get him on your clan boss team, if you don't have the survivability, this really might be a way to get your team lasting longer in clan boss. He's exceptionally good for that. Now, on to our next champion, guys. Next up, we're looking at a duo, guys, that work really well together, and that is in the Undead Horde's Magic Affinity Frozen Banshee in all her glory. Guys, this champion is a massive for clan boss, okay? On the A1, attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has an 80% chance, booking to 100, of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns if the target is under poison sensitivity, and she brings her own poison sensitivity for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown on her A3. We turn off the A2, and she has an accuracy aura as well to help us out there, guys. This is a no-brainer. You are going to fill up the bar on the clan boss with this, with poison sensitivity. On any boss, this works on dragon. I just poked myself in the eye. Don't do that. There you go. This is a video about don't do some things. Don't feed these. Don't poke yourself in the eye. Okay, so she is 1. She's class boss like dragon, especially is really susceptible to poisons, and then her companion is Grave Chill Killer, which is more difficult to say than really it should be. I meant to say Grave Kill Chiller, but also attacks 1 enemy and has a chance of placing a big 5% poison debuff for 1 turn. We also, if they are under a poison, has big decreased defense on the A2, which is huge for clan boss 2, and then on the A3, if the boss is under a poison sensitivity, or if whoever you're attacking is under poison sensitivity, then she places 2 big poisons, 5% poisons, instead of the 2.5% poisons as well. So that's why she works incredibly well with Frozen Banshee. A very good pairing. If you're looking for more damage output on your clan boss, you couldn't go wrong looking at those 2. Very good working in conjunction together. That's our 3 and 4 is a duo that work really well together, guys. If you get them, you have a long way towards a solution for your clan boss team, and you can make great inroads using the 2 of them. So don't feed them, especially if you had to pick one and not the other. If you had to, Solomon's choice or whatever it is, Frozen Banshee is the one you want to keep. She's exceptionally good. I know some of the guys in the free-to-play challenge got her, and they are steamrolling way ahead of everybody else. She's brilliant. Now, next, onwards we go. And we're into Demon Spawn, guys. We are talking about Petrifia. Petrifia? Yeah, Rockroot. Okay, we actually love this. I think that's such a cool design on her. No face is a little bit alarming, I'm not going to lie to you, but she is very good. Why, I hear you ask? Let's look. So attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 20% chance of placing a 30% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. That alone is pretty good, especially for a rare. You have to remember the context, guys. These are all rares. If the target is under a poison sensitivity, so who could she pal up well with? Frozen Banshee, maybe? Debuff placed by this champion. Each hit has a 20% chance of placing a big decreased defense instead, and placed by this champion obviously gives you the clue of poison sensitivity that she brings herself. So attacks 3 times at random, or if you're on a single boss, that's just 3 times on the one target, which is incredibly good at times, guys. So 3 times at random, each hit has a 25% chance of placing a 25% poison sensitivity debuff for 2 turns, okay? If all hits land on the same target, so think clan boss, dragon, fire knight, any single target boss also places a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns on the A3, and that is on a 4-turn cooldown. Triple hitter also brings an accuracy in all battles aura. I'm using Ruella, guys, who's extremely good, right? Ruella is an epic, a relatively new one in the Sylvan Watchers. She only has a 40 accuracy aura, and Petrifia is a rare that has a 30. That's massive, guys. You don't understand the effect those auras can have on your team are huge, especially for accuracy. Landing debuffs is so important in the early game where it's so hard to get all the stats you need. Now, we have the A2, attacks all enemies 2 times. The first hit has a 75% chance, 100% chance when booked, placing a 25% decrease attack on an AoE, guys. Debuff for 2 turns, okay? The second hit has a 50% chance, booked to 75, of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns as well. So that's on a 3-turn cooldown. So she's getting a poison out here and decrease attack. She's getting poison sensitivity and poison out here. And then she's getting a big decrease defense out on the A1, as well as helping you out reaching your accuracy targets. Guys, that's massive. Like, if you don't necessarily understand how much she's bringing to your team there, it's so good. It really, really is. And I know another one of my clanmates on the free-to-play challenge is using her and doing incredibly well. So that's Petrifia. Petrifia? Is that what I said it was? Yeah. Hellborn Sprite is the next one, guys. And Hellborn Sprite is actually, would you believe, this rare is part of the biggest damaging clan boss teams ever, okay? World record clan boss teams, Hellborn Sprite. This rare is one of the central parts of it. Now, unfortunately, we can't do that composition anymore because it involved corpulent cadaver and shield manipulation and all this kind of thing. But she was part of it because she brings weaken on the A1. So attacking on the A1, 15% weaken, 50% chance for 2 turns. This here, heal reduction is also huge, guys, as well. Attacks 1 enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 75% chance when booked of placing a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. So if you think about the Spirit Keep, that's one of the hardest keeps to do early game, because as you're damaging the boss, every turn she takes, she boosts her health back up by 50%. If you have a 100% heal reduction from Hellborn Sprite here, you don't have to worry about that. She's not healing anything. You can also do this on Fire Knight. Oh, and by the way, she attacks 1 enemy 3 times. So if you're hitting 3 times, that's lowering the shield of the Fire Knight. And then if he is going to get his shield back up, you already have a heal reduction debuff on him there for 2 turns. So he's not going to heal up and he's not going to make your life hell. So the reason now she was part of some of them clan boss teams, guys, nothing got to do with the A2, it's this here. So increases the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn, and then places a 15% increased crit rate on all allies for 2 turns. So we spoke earlier on about some of the buffs that are really good to keep going on your team. She helps you do that. You want to have full coverage on your teams when you're fighting bosses at all times. You want to have increased defense. You want to have strengthen. You want to have maybe even increased crit rate if you want to go in with lower crit rate and use the buffs to do it. Ally protection. You want it up at all times. Even Veil, which brings me on to that other champion I was talking about, guys, the one that is a Mini-Duchess. We'll look at that next and we'll be able to see why it's really good in conjunction with Hellborn Sprite. But yeah, Hellborn Sprite on a 3-turn cooldown, and she is a rare, is probably the easiest ally buff extender that you can get your hands on. And she brings weaken for any bosses, and she brings heal reduction for the likes of Fire Knight and any other boss or anything else that's going to be healing that you don't want to heal. Okay, incredibly good champion, guys. So this champion that I was alluding to earlier, a Mini-Duchess, okay? So what does Duchess do, right? Let's have a look at Duchess. Duchess, still to this day, one of the most sought after champions in the game, okay? She's a demon spawn. We didn't have to go far. We were actually in demon spawn, weren't we? She's a legendary for a start, dahi. It's always fun trying to find these guys. So she's a spirit affinity legendary in the demon spawn faction. So why is she so sought after? A1, attacks enemies 2 times, gives a shield buff equal to 10% of this champion's max HP on this champion and the ally with the lowest HP. Okay, good. Perfect Veil, block debuffs, increase attack. Great. Okay, so Perfect Veil also, not many people know this or remember it properly, but Perfect Veil also decreases AoE damage. Okay, so it reduces it by, let's have a look here. Hey, Perfect Veil, 15%. There we are. And 7.5 for Veil. Okay, she's reducing that AoE damage from any clan boss or any boss. Ice Golem is a good one to think of when you think about AoE damage. That retaliation slam can really ruin your day, really mess up your day altogether, guys. And then she also has a revive and places Veil and continuous heal. But this passive is the thing that people go nuts for, right? So decreases the damage taken by all allies from AoE attacks by 25% or on bosses 15%, okay? And then coupled with Veil, that turns into a 30% AoE damage reduction. That's straight up damage mitigation. Then that can be in conjunction then with the likes of strengthen, ally protection, increased defense, all the rest of it. But that passive is always on. You don't need any buffs on your anthem like that. That's why Duchess is so good, and this is why this champion is like a mini Duchess, okay? So let's go on back down here and then let's hit X because the champion is not in here, okay? It's a champion I fed. Tirlac, Shadowbow Tirlac. I thought it was Tirlac Shadowbow. So he's there in his ghillie suit, looking pretty cool. Bow and arrow, ready to slay. And yeah, this guy here, 40% chance of placing a 25% decrease attack debuff, okay? So there we are. We're already, 50% chance actually when booked, we're already into damage mitigation and lessening incoming damage that you're going to get. Now, he's a defense-based champion as well, so he's going to be a little bit tankier than the norm. He is a rare, so it's not going like he's going to be invincible or anything like that. We're already looking at mitigating any damage coming in, okay? Now, increase speed on all allies for 2 turns. So he's going to keep everybody going at a faster rate as well, guys, on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. And he also AoE attacks with that, with AoE coverage on increased speed for all allies. Then places a Veil buff on all allies except this champion for 1 turn. And also places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns equal to 20% of his max HP. So you'd want to build them with big HP and big defense, and this is going to really help you out. Now, the Veil, as we know, Perfect Veil gives 15% AoE damage mitigation. Veil gives 7.5% AoE damage mitigation. Then the shield buff also soaks up some of the damage that you're going to take. The decrease attack also lessens the damage you're going to take. And then finally, the pièce de résistance, we have camo cover. Decreases the damage received from all skills by all allies under Veil or Perfect Veil by 5%, meaning that this turns into a 12.5% AoE damage reduction. This is actually just straight up damage reduction, not AoE, but we're up to 12.5. We have 25% decrease attack. We have a shield. We're basically just becoming way more tanky. That's why this champion is a mini Duchess, guys, and really so overlooked. I pulled them, got really excited for my clan boss team, thought, yeah, this is the one that's going to bring me to the next level. And of course, one of those late night fueled episodes of trying to progress in the free-to-play challenge, I ended up feeding Tirlac Shadowbow, and I no longer have it. No champion matches my chosen criteria, guys. So I thought it would be really good to get the message out there. He's excellent, as are all of those champions mentioned, guys. Guys, like and subscribe, hit that button down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.